Yeah. Well, now it's like, well, I took this day off, and then the back of the mind is, well, how much money did I lose that day?
From training?
From training. You gained, man.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So MC, what's the word? How does this work?
What's up?
This is it.
Yeah.
This
How's
is
it
how
going?
you do it.
Yeah,
I'm super excited.
this is it. This is it.
Hey, Perm,
This is awesome.
do the introduction.
Shit. Welcome to Tomato Camp. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Yeah.
Really good today. Tired, but really good.
Yeah, we all had a good training day today.
Yeah, it was nice. Got beat up.
Yep.
Got exhausted.
I don't know who was beating you up because
Man,
I got beat up too.
yeah. Yeah, it was definitely both. Everybody that's in this room, actually, I think. I need myself in the nose. That was pretty awesome.
We're on the ride home, and Bradley goes, "You think Chris is gonna be okay?" And I was like, "Chris who, baby? What?" And I'm looking in the rearview mirror. And she's like, "Birmingham, you think he's gonna be all right?" I was like, "Why wouldn't he be all right?" And she goes, "He hit himself in the nose really hard." 7-year-old word.
That's awesome. Yeah, no,
I thought you broke your nose.
I thought I did something and you were just being nice, man.
Yeah,
No,
when
no.
I was across the mat and I looked over at you, I was like, oh, his shit's broke.
Well, what's funny too about that is even when Brian and I were rolling, like literally the roll before that, or 2 rolls before that, whatever. I was blocking like this, and he tried to swing in close to me, and he brought his knee through, and it hit my elbow, but it was like literally this far from my nose. So like I'm here, and it hit here, and Brian stopped and was like, "Did I just smash your nose?" And I was like, "No, we're good." But then it was funny because then after that happened, then I smashed myself in the nose. I was like, "Oh, it was inevitable." My
Brian
nose was
called
getting
it.
smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hey, that's flexibility people problems. I don't have
yeah,
that.
right. Yeah.
I'm sitting there trying to calculate in my head. Wait a minute, what?
I know, and that's
Twist your nose how?
well, that's the funny
I know.
thing, right? I try to say like, "Oh yeah, I need myself in the nose," and everybody's looking at me like, "This fucking guy, like, what kind of weird shit is he
You make your own
doing?"
elbow, Perm.
I'm not gonna do it on camera. No.
He's like,
He's like,
next time we're off camera, you're using the restroom.
wait, what?
It feels like you could do it though.
I probably
No, I'm saying when you think about it, you're like, of course I could do it.
probably couldn't. Yeah, I can do it. Of course, yeah. I can still put my leg over my head, you know. So
Damn. Have you always been that flexible?
yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, well, even back when I played baseball, one of my nicknames was Gumby.
Was it?
Yeah.
So when I came up with Deadly Gumby,
Yeah, it would kind of fit in with that. Yeah, but yeah, that was one of my old nicknames was Gumby because I
That
played
one didn't
first
stick.
base and I could do the splits basically. You know what I mean? So
Nice.
yeah, at first base it helped out a lot. You know.
are you left-handed?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yep.
That's right, you're a lefty too.
Yep.
We got a lot of lefties.
Yep. Left brain, right mind. You know what I mean?
What?
I like it.
Most of the time.
So wait, so when I'm trying to pass, I'm passing
No, you're passing to my bad side.
I'm passing to your very strongest side.
No, my bad side, dude.
Is that your bad side?
Oh yeah, horrible.
Yeah, horrible. Yeah. So I gotta go the other way.
Yeah, you just keep going what you're doing, man.
I gotta go. That
You know what?
explains everything.
It is funny, like full disclosure to our
Chess match playing out right now.
right to our 20s of fans out there.
Yeah. And growing.
Tens.
Yeah, right. Our
Tens of
tens, our
Growing.
tens plus. Everybody usually always passes the same direction,
Yeah, I do.
like always. You know what I
To
mean?
the left side? To our left side.
Yeah, to your left side, to my right side. But I pass to the left as well. I pass the same way, but it's pretty much, it seems like about 95% of the time, everybody initiates to my right, and then they start going back left. Like, you know, Will, you're really good about that. you go both ways. Like you'll pass left or right.
Another sound bite.
Another sound
Right.
bite
Yeah.
on an actual.
Clear for all.
Right.
This
I
is
even-
jujitsu lingo.
Yeah.
Hey, we agreed not to talk about people's personal
know,
sexual preferences
That was
before we
supposed
got
to
on
stay
here,
off
man.
air. That was an off air comment. But yeah, it seems like for the most part, everybody seems to pass the same direction. You know what I mean?
Most people pass on your right.
Yeah, going to
I
my
pass
right.
to your left more. Or
No.
it's
You
your
usually,
right.
because I usually come
My
in with
left,
my,
it's your right.
yeah, I'm usually coming in underhook with my left arm, and that's usually what I get. That's my main kind of offensive, defensive position right there.
Man, in fairness, my goal is always to fake left, go right, and there is no going right. You cannot go towards your legs. You have to always run away from them.
Right.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, I was really trying to work today on like being active. With you, it was working well. You know, trying to stay like in an active top position.
I liked it, man.
Yeah, it felt
It was
good.
the first time.
Not so much on this side of the room, though. Not so much.
I tried to keep pressure off of everybody today. I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all felt it.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt.
I didn't get-
I felt
50% of my
pressure. I
off.
felt pressure.
But it wasn't like some of the
No, it
the
wasn't.
most recent.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
No, I wasn't feeling tons of pressure with
I
our
felt
rolls.
some of yours today though, when you got that 3/4 guard and then you switched the hands like we were working.
Yeah,
last week.
yeah.
Like this does suck from the bottom.
This does. Well, it's funny too because I was like thinking about, okay, we just learned this. I'm not going to do what I have always done. I'm going to do what I was taught to do. So it doesn't feel like anything on top. Like I didn't like when I switched hands, I was just remembering like, oh, he said to switch immediately. But like in my mind, I wasn't like, dude, I'm killing this guy. Like I just thought I'll be toppled any second, just like always. Yeah.
It was more of the spinal misalignment.
Yeah.
Just kind of magnifying, you know what I mean? The position.
It's crazy little tweaks like that though that will just open. I mean, that for me was like roadblock, and now it's open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Chris, I liked on yours, man. Like you were aggressive on top, like, and not so much like out of control, but it was like very much like, man, this dude has thought about this and is executing a plan. Because you were just like, you weren't expending a ton of energy, but you were just above mine.
It was the one movement ahead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of that. Well, it's same thing, right? Studying, reading, the amount of times we train together and stuff. Now,
Yeah.
especially in our group, right? A lot of those things. Well, and I was saying to you afterwards, a lot of the issues I have is even in those top positions, I won't try to get in front of you. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like reacting to your movement instead of trying to be proactive with my movement. So today I was really trying to work on like proactive and working on keeping your base points off the mat. Keeping your base point controlled. And that's what's helped. Honestly, it was for me, it was keeping the leg controlled, which is something I usually don't do.
Yeah.
I'm usually trying to keep both arms or up top controlled. And so today I switched to like top and bottom, and that changed up a lot of that control for me. So
Yeah.
that was nice.
Yeah, it was good, man. I liked it. It was new, brand new. So I'm like, oh, now I got to troubleshoot
I'll
this.
take it.
So, Will, during our first roll today, like you were going through like just attack, and I was recognizing the attack and I was working to defend it. But as soon as I went to defend, you moved on to something else already. What, as a blue belt, to progress, am I looking to try to do against somebody of a higher level at that point?
Do what you're doing. Recognize those transitions.
But even though as soon as I recognized that you're going to this, and as soon as I was going to defend it, you were moving on to something else already.
I think if you distill it down to the base level, right, it all becomes dependent on position. So the answer to the question is, like I used to ask my Sifu, my instructor in another martial art, what do I do if a guy throws a punch like this? He's like, well, don't get hit.
Don't get
So you were in an inferior position with bad body alignment, with no frames, with no right. You were in pretty deep water.
Yeah.
So then it's easy for me to start a chain of events that kind of cascade and connect and can even go different directions and backwards and so forth. You know what I mean? That's
Okay.
what we're trying to do. So the short answer is don't be there.
Don't be there.
Work on your frames, work on your escapes, work on your prevention. But it felt good today.
It's funny.
I was just working on trying to fast fire the transitions.
Well, it's funny. He's asking that question, and I didn't ask the question, but I was recognizing on the leg stuff. I'm like, dude, this guy's at least 2 steps, maybe 3 steps ahead right now, because I couldn't address anything. But I do. So when you asked the question, I kind of laughed inside, because it's like, but at least but that is the point, right? Just the awareness first to for sure. Start troubleshooting it. And our rate, I think it was Rolo that actually put it the best I ever understood it, at least, where he was like, yeah, I will like come in and I'll kill somebody like Will or Professor with something. And then within 24 hours, they've figured it all out. And it just...
Rolo.
I was thinking that. I was like, ooh, that's a good soundbite right there. That's another soundbite.
Look, in fairness, it may not have been a direct quote, but he definitely said something just like that. But yeah, he's like, within 24 hours, it's troubleshooted and it won't work again. Whereas like if you do it
that is a factor, right? I think.
Yeah. Whereas like if you're a lower belt, like it takes a while for you to recognize it. You don't have this wealth of experience to draw from to correct it.
I think in my personal, this is just my opinion, and I got it from one of my early instructors, but we talked about it at length. Actually, you were part of that conversation. That at purple belt, for many, and it's obviously different for a few people, it can vary, but at purple belt, you have the ability to visualize and almost do mental reps. You can stop and say, I just did this roll. Now I'm going to take that moment in time and I'm going to look all around it.
Yeah.
Where was my hand? Where was my grip? Where was my leg? And you can literally just sit there and visualize it and do reps. It kind of changes it.
Yeah.
Wow. Like out of body experiences and shit.
That's when the magic happens.
Damn, I can't wait to get there and shit.
We're all purple belts and above, levitate.
It feeds into though, right?
Yeah.
What your point? I do believe that if I ever were lucky enough to get an upper belt with something, they can adapt on that. Not even next day. They're adapt the next roll.
Yeah.
I could go, man, that was nice. I'm gonna get that. I'm not gonna get that again.
Yeah.
But you look down and at a brown, it might take them. They might have to think about it until the next morning. Purple, it might take them a week to try to troubleshoot and kind of dismantle and reassemble that.
And blue belt, just no chance.
Yeah, we're just like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. It just happened.
That helped me though, because it's like we always have like it's funny the standard we put on, but it's like I've done this for X amount of years, so I should fill in the blank, right? And you're never factoring in that this other guy's done it for X amount of years more.
Yeah.
So it's
we
not
always have to give credit to our training partners.
Exactly.
You guys catch me with something, it's like I'm not going to get upset about that. I'm actually going to feel good that that's a testament to your hard work and your understanding and growth.
Yeah.
I don't understand people that get bent out of shape, like if a lower belt got one time or did something.
I don't know if Brian.
We're trying to make each other better.
I don't know if Brian's actually watching, but I'm actually looking forward to the day. I'm actually looking forward to the day that he doesn't give up on one of the submissions that he's already caught me in. You know what I mean?
Really?
Oh yeah.
You think
they were 100% legitimate. I've actually said it to him. So, but if it would have been anybody else along this row, I would have tapped. It's just I'm not because it's not actually. It's just I'm not because he's not making me.
For sure. Yeah.
Right?
Because
like
he doesn't know.
He doesn't know that he has it.
Close.
So it's not going to do him a benefit. It's not going to do him a benefit for me to tap early when he has it. And all he has to do is do that final little, like, I got it. So tweak it a tiny bit. Mm-hmm. For us, if we're rolling, it's not going to do me any benefit to not tap early because I know you guys have it and we'll finish it. Hopefully ever so gently if I don't tap on time. Right. Well, you know what I mean? But it is that thing. It's like that, I think, it's like the spirit I like to be in, at least. Like where you're kind of like rooting, like, oh, good. That's been figured out. Now we're both going to have to move on to the next thing or whatever.
Yeah. Like even, like you're saying, if we're rolling, there's not spots where I'm gonna. I mean, so we will do this because we're talking about certain things, but a lot of times I won't stop in the middle of our roll or like with you and be like, hey, think about your foot positioning here, Will. You know what I mean? Like, or hey, Andre, did you think about that? You know, like think about where your hand is right now. Or like, you know, like today, even when Brian gets me in that like very, very compromising position, it's me like up to that point telling him like, think about, pay attention to where your feet are now. And then once he gets me there, as he's like wrenching as hard as he can, I'm like, dude, regulate your breathing. You know what I mean? And I tell him, while he's like trying to finish the choke, it's like not finishing. And I hear him just, you know, it's like building. And I'm like, just, hey, regulate your breathing, you know, calm down and then go, you know, and then like he gets to the point to where he finishes the choke and it's like, there you go. You know what I mean? But dude, he's legit, man.
It's cool to your point, Will, it's just cool to see the progression, you know, like where it's like, it's like it was passed to us and all we can do is like, we have no choice but to pass it on. Right. If we're trying or not trying, it's still going to pass on. Yeah. And it's cool to see it happen. Like now I know what a few times I would hear you guys when we first started, like, talk about our crew and stuff, and I could see the literal like joy in your eyes or like that spark. And I didn't understand it quite.
Like the first baby, you know, first child.
Yeah. And it's hard to understand when you're in the moment and you're like, man, but I didn't even finish that, or I'm not doing this right or not doing that right.
Oh, especially when Kelly was here.
Yeah.
You put me through hell. I know you guys were paying. Like,
yeah. But I do finally understand it. Yeah. I do finally understand it where it's like, that's cool.
God dang, those days, man. We had some hell days back then too, man.
I felt for you sometimes. I just couldn't show it.
Well, and then I know, right?
It's good.
Man, these guys are like,
well, then that's our stand. So not only were we getting it from that angle, but then that's our standard. So when we like got with each other, it was like, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I remember how Kelly does it.
We beat the crap out of each other too.
There was like one day, it was like an evening class. I hadn't been training very long, and it was when Jesse was still training.
Jesse. Oh, yeah.
Jesse.
Skinny guy, right? Yeah.
Little skinny Jesse, wiry Jesse.
Yeah. That was like my identical arch nemesis, pretty much.
He was
like, I mean, yeah, we're basically the same, and we would do our terrible beginning jiu-jitsu on each other, you know, and it was equal level terrible jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? But I remember there was this one time when like everybody came off the mats and we like stayed on and kept rolling, you know what I mean? And Andrew was like, only the white belts are going to be out here doing an extra roll. You know what I mean? And like when he said that, like you see like a few other people look around and then other groups start jumping out there, you know what I mean? But it's stuff like that where it's like I mean, even from the beginning, it was like, you got to sink or swim. I mean, that's what it was for us. And whether or not it is with another white belt or with an upper belt at that time, just the more we did, the better it was. The more insane, it still rings true, right? It hasn't changed in that aspect, but
nah,
dude, I mean, it was like the slaughterhouse every night there. You know what I mean? Like when we first showed up.
That bad?
No, it was bad.
It was just.
I think we probably downplay how bad it was. Actually, I mean, it was bad.
You think like we got to think like for us it was that bad because we didn't know what we were doing. Looking at it now where we're at, and it's like you said, it probably wasn't as bad, but at the same time, man, there were some different dynamics, dude. There were
there's a lot of heavy dudes, like pressure guys.
Yeah, and that's true.
A lot of you, especially when it's kind of it's spread out because the gym's gotten so big that everybody has kind of a time slot now. Yeah. But imagine me going with you, and then with Gene, and then with Kelly, and then with Mikey,
and then Andrew, and then like the purple
Big John,
purple belts.
Big John,
Big John.
What do you do?
Right,
and then you had like, and back then
tools in your tool belt, and this 400-pound Goliath. The man's hands were like a bear. They were like this big to mine.
Yeah,
that's a set of problems that are hard. I know you guys are going. I knew it.
Yeah.
And Matt Hayward at the time was training all the time.
Yeah,
dude, I mean, we had like, there were some definite
pretty rough style.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then like, I mean, just all the nightmares, you know what I mean? Like,
But it always
no, it was good though. It was good.
Walking uphill both ways, you know, old guy story.
Yeah,
Drew and
it's
I
true.
got, like, thinking back to the stuff that we, came up through. And especially Drew, like, I can't imagine what he was coming up through in, like, 2006 and stuff.
Yeah.
But it definitely was a different environment.
Yeah. Well, I think
you guys is kind of the hybrid, right?
Yeah.
You went through really tough times, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but you also were able to recognize some of the efficiencies of, like, the program that you put together. Once they separated the intro class, I think that was a big move.
that was good for other people.
I didn't get the experience.
No, but I think I do understand what you're saying, and it probably is. You have a snippet in time that you're looking at, and that's what you know.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% positive in your guys' time coming up, there was no discussions on, hey, how can we make this a little bit easier on the white belts or blah, blah, blah. But I remember those were active discussions while we were white belts, because every once in a while, one was floated on by or whatnot. So I see your point there, but either way, it's
constantly evolving. You know what I mean? So.
Either way, like anybody's journey, right? Probably everybody would say almost the same thing. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't, I'm glad the way it went. And
even like
I would have tapped earlier and more often. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, that's the key, right? I mean, that's a big key, is tapping early and tapping often whenever you can. That's something I figured out. Oh no, that's something I figured out pretty quickly though, like just from training.
Yeah.
For me, it was fortunate. I did kind of adhere to that quickly, as opposed to really tough it out. I mean, there's still times where it happens, you know what I mean, sure. And you get those little tweaks or whatever. But yeah, that's a big one.
I sometimes find, like, myself, like, remembering back, I would ask for the advice, and then it would be given to me, and then I would critique it and decide whether that was something that I thought would work, rather than just listening to it, where it's like, hey, the best thing you can do here is just frame. Man, if I would have listened to that earlier, and actually probably stopped at that point and said, well, what is a frame? Like, you know what I mean? Like
underhooks.
But yeah, underhooks and, like, just the little things. Like, think of how many. I know
that's a key.
Yeah. But think of how many injuries would have been sidestepped by just listening to that simple piece of advice. Like,
yeah, I would admit to the intro class in retrospect, right? In hindsight, looking back, I injured myself more in the first 2 years than I was injured the following 8.
Yeah.
That's just reality. I didn't realize it while I was in it, though. I was like, why are these guys messing me up so bad? It's like, no, he already passed your guard, mounted you, and had a straight on Americana. You just refused to tap.
Right.
Your shoulder is partially torn. It was on me, right? But I didn't, at the time, didn't really get that.
Or just the explosion and flailing for no reason constantly. Like, your body can't handle that. I was telling at home, I was talking earlier, I was like, what's crazy to me is, like, if somebody walks in off the street and comes to a jiu-jitsu class, they will literally be throwing up in the parking lot. And then we come in every day, right? And it just isn't that experience anymore. And I was trying to, like, just think, like, what's the difference, though? Because jiu-jitsu is really hard, right? For sure. But to me, it's that difference. Like, yeah, it's really, really hard, but I know when somebody has me. And I just accept it sometimes. Not accept it in the sense of, like, oh, we're done. No. But, like, in this particular position, the best I could do is just hold this frame so that he does not crush me right now, and wait for it to ease up just a little bit, then try to explode. It may not work. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I think those little things, and there's no way to learn that early on. That's the other thing. Or maybe that's the 5-year black belt that does learn that early on. I don't know, but I couldn't learn that early on.
Early on, it's just hard enough learning to not, like, keep your arms straight out in front of you, right? You know what I mean? Like, somebody comes inside or starts, like, pressuring, you just want to do this, keep them pushed away. You get arm barred so many times at first, and you're like, oh yeah, I shouldn't stick that arm out, you know?
Yeah.
Push, pull, and the natural, like.
Yeah.
Once you know something, though, you don't understand how you didn't know it before, too. It's like that thing in life almost. Like, I forgot what it was with Jaden I was talking to him about, but it was so common sense to me. I wish it would be a better story if I can remember. But I remember just the sheer ignorance, the innocent ignorance of, this is his first go at life.
Yeah. He literally hasn't.
He literally has never experienced this ever. You know?
Right.
And it's like, sometimes it's hard to remember that, you know, every new experience, you know, like it's going to be different than once you figured it out and then you're telling somebody about it. Like you filled in so many of the gaps in knowledge, you know? And so I think that's a lot of jiu-jitsu right there. So I was thinking like, what do I actually know in jiu-jitsu? You know? But then like I was actually thinking about,
we all have those conversations with ourselves.
Yeah.
Every level, like,
but what I was thinking though, like,
not thinking so much.
yeah, right. But I don't
When
know
does
that I know
start?
a whole,
You know, like
I don't know that I know a whole ton, but I have some experience that helps me to naturally move in. I'd like to think a bulk of the situations, but you know, it may not be a bulk of the situations. In certain situations, it just happen to be the best movement, right? But you can't like teach that.
A lot of it that's organic and invisible and just time on the mat. Like my professors used to always say, "Oh, I would ask, how do I get better faster?" Because I was always one that wanted to like, consume the information, get really good, you know, excel, get that next goal. It was just like, how do I get better faster? Mat time. Seems like such a simplistic, you know, to where I almost didn't believe it. I'm like, well, yeah, I know that, but what else can I do? And they're like, more mat time, show up more, do extra rounds, do this, do that. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. I was actually just gonna say that earlier when we were talking about it. Like, whenever I'm asked a question anymore, it's just like I almost feel like bypassing that exact question and just be like, just come back tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. Like, really, the answer I think to all of them is like, do you come for a year straight and you'll see a huge difference, and then the year after that you'll see a huge difference, and the year after that you'll see a huge difference. All these like little things we try and like, yeah, has value. It's not like you don't think about it, but really it's the commitment and consistency is the best answer.
Well, that separates everything, right? Especially in jiu-jitsu. I mean, that's the key to all of it is consistency. You know, I mean, even at an individual belt level, you can get stuck for a long time at an individual belt level if you're not consistently training, you know, and there's so many factors that go into that, but it is the same thing. It's just, if you're not doing it consistently, same as like playing basketball or, whatever, you know, playing any sport, you know, the less times you're dribbling a ball, you know, when you go to actually need to pull out that nice crossover, it's not going to be as crisp, or it's not as smooth.
Boy, don't I know.
You know?
Right about now.
Right. But same, even jiu-jitsu, you know, I mean, the less you're...
Yeah, and then it's like on your level of what it can be. You know, there's different factors they're going to play in for everybody, right? Like, oh, I work 70 hours a week. Well, maybe your consistency and commitment looks a little different.
Right.
My physical abilities...
And that just modifies or influences the trajectory, right?
Right.
Like you're not going to have the same... You can train twice a day, 6 days a week. Your trajectory looks a little different.
Well, I was thinking too, like, you know, I think of it... Originally, I thought of consistency is in terms of like short term, like I need to go 4 times a week, 5 times a week, so I can have this goal at the end of the year, right? And then now it's like kind of in my mind is like, if I could do that, I want to do that. If my body will allow me to, and if my time allows me to. But now I think of it over just like, let me extend this journey out a little bit longer of what it actually is. I might have life circumstances that are like, I have a bad year that I can't do what all I would want to do, but you do whatever you can, right? And then if you extend it out and it's like, well, that bad year doesn't count 5 years from now. It's still consistent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, I think the question is what's more important, the destination or the journey?
Yeah.
And depending upon stage of life and a bunch of other factors and your personality and everything else, the answer can be different. It was definitely different for me when I was in my 20s, late 20s.
Yeah. Now
I'm a little bit older, and I'm like, I was telling Drew, I'd like to stay on the mat for another 10 years if I can. That's like my ultimate goal, is to stay healthy and try to give back and stay on the mat.
Do you think realistically in 10 years that'll be what you can handle?
That I can continue training?
Do you really think at the end of 10 years that like that really is a question mark at this stage?
Not necessarily, but definitely the thoughts start to creep in, with the nagging injuries like this foot and stuff, like things that just don't heal. And no matter what you do, it's Father Time wins all battles. So I'm just thinking ahead. Like, I definitely don't want to be just the guy that shows up that's just there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Barely move. Like they used to say, Helio trained till he was 90 something. I'm like,
but did he? Yeah.
What was his training like? So, it's tough. I see. I think at I'm gonna be 45 pretty soon, so 55. But there's folks we have that do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think how old is Ken?
I was just thinking, I don't know.
He was 50. 50 when he told me maybe it was a year or two ago. So he's probably had a birthday or two since. But yeah,
I thought somebody told me he just turned 50, but yeah, he's up
maybe.
Old man Will though is over 50.
Yeah.
Quite a ways. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
And that fool trains more than a lot of
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, he trains all the time.
Yeah, he's a gangster.
He's
I think it depends though. Like
he is. He's a G for sure.
I mean, everybody has their like genetic makeup, right? Like everybody's body handles different things. I was actually thinking about this recently. That's why I asked the question, because I was thinking about I was relating it to a prior thing I did, which was like litigating cases heavily. And I didn't know it at the time, but I definitely learned it. Like you have a shelf life. You don't know what it is, but you have a shelf life. And mine came way early on specifically litigating those types of cases.
Really?
Oh yeah. But what was crazy is I got good very quickly, but the shelf life was very short, And I was thinking about that in terms of I don't know what my shelf life is for jiu-jitsu. And then really what spawned it is basketball. I've been playing with Jaden, and after his thing, a bunch of his coach, a bunch of semi-pro guys come and play. And they've been trying to coax me to go out and play. And I really want to go out. And I was thinking about it, but I'm I'm not. And I was trying to dissect all the feelings of what was going on along with it. And really what I came up with, sort of sidetracking, but what I came up with was, what? I have all my memories about basketball. And I have really good ones and I have really bad ones. But they fit perfectly in my story. And I don't need whatever I'm about to, getting back out in the court now at 40, I'm gonna be 41, I think. 41.
Higher likelihood there'll be bad ones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that fits
Tom Segura,
I don't see how that fits in my story in a positive way.
Yeah.
Especially, I think two things. One, it'll delay the passing of the torch to Jaden in his time. Because I want him to beat me, just like I want certain people to get their submission, that's a good thing for them and their development. But and then the other thing though, what's most likely is I'm going to get hurt on that court and not be able to train jiu-jitsu.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's
the biggest detractor.
That's
the real stuff.
Well, and I wasn't thinking about it consciously, but it's priority wise, jiu-jitsu is a bigger part of my story at this stage of life.
Mm-hmm.
And the love and passion I had for that game, I still have for it, but it had an earlier role, But I started thinking about jiu-jitsu that way too, of there was a time where I loved a sport where that's all I did, all I could think about, and then stopped. Well, what's that look like? So I was thinking about in terms of I'm starting to feel the age. I am. I mean, I really am starting to feel the age now. And I don't think it's just virtue of getting older, right? You don't know what you're going to be able to do in 5 years until you get there. Yeah, it happens to everyone. And that's not a bad thing. But I was man, the thought first crept into my mind of how long can I do this? Really? When you're not hurting and so much pain, and anybody who's 50 is going to laugh at us, right? Anybody who's 60 still doing it's going to laugh at us. And I acknowledge that. But I'm starting to hit those first stages of I tell my body to do something and it's not doing it, or not doing it the way that I knew I could do it just seemed like a month ago.
Yeah.
So it's anyway, that's why the question it's just started creeping in my mind. How long can we actually do this?
Yeah. And I've had that for a few years, ever since my neck injury, I think, was when it started to creep in.
That was the other thing I thought about, a big injury like that.
That put you out for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, I was out all the way out. I couldn't even jog.
Really?
My neck was bad. Yeah.
Was that
They
from a
told me I needed
jiu-jitsu?
spinal fusion. Everybody always asks that question. It's kind of hard to say.
What was it?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Was it caused by jiu-jitsu? There's really no way to say. Was it exacerbated, or could it have been like the catalyst that like triggered that impact injury? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
It was bulged for a while back when I was like a blue belt, and I would get like stinging and shooting pain and numbness in my fingers.
Yeah.
And I just tough it out. And then when it actually like herniated, and then my arm shrunk, and I had excruciating nerve pain. I was like, this ain't good.
So what?
They told me I needed spinal fusion surgery.
But you didn't go through with
I
it.
didn't do it. I went through physical therapy, 6 months, like 5 months of physical therapy, 3 days a week.
Wow.
Intensive.
Okay.
And I got back to, I still wasn't even 80% when Day Boa opened. Like I came and rolled in the garage and stuff when it was brand new.
Yeah.
But when we opened up the actual academy, probably 80%.
Oh, wow.
But over time, and now I'm actually doing better than I have in a lot of years. I think that's training a little more consistently. And kettlebells. I think kettlebells has helped a lot with just strengthening up, the shoulder muscles.
Oh, all right. Because I get that from time to time, but it's not
Little
like
stingers and stuff,
Yeah.
or are you getting more symptoms?
Well, it's the weirdest thing because before I started school again, I was getting it real bad behind my my right side,
I remember
the shoulder
that.
blade. Yeah, it was really bad. And then with school and everything, I wasn't training as much. And at one point, it stopped completely. The pain went away, but it was like a year of just constant pain. And now it kind of shifted over to the left side, which is weird because I haven't been really training it. I started hurting on the left side before I even started training this year.
Really?
So I don't know, man. It's all whack. But I think I've heard you say something about that when I was going through the pains, about the stinging and the numbness and stuff. I was getting that all the time, and I was losing strength in my right hand.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I remember
I specifically remember that.
Yeah. So and I knew that you had a bad injury in your neck, but I didn't I didn't put the two together. So it was just ignoring the pain throughout all that time. And then one day it just overloaded. And
yeah, it just progressed. It just got worse. The MRIs, the doctor, I have an MRI that's pretty telling that I shared way back. You see my neck, and then you just see this like triangle of white. Pretty pronounced.
Yeah.
It's going into the spinal cord.
Ugh.
And that's my disc at C5, C6.
Eesh.
No bueno.
No. But I was petrified. Honestly, I'll be straightforward. I was scared of that surgery. I was like, they described it, and they move your throat in your spots.
Oh my
And
God.
then they cut into your neck, and they take the disc out, the cushion in between your vertebrae, and they put a piece of bone in there, and then they drill an H bracket to basically fuse the two vertebrae together into one.
Fuck that.
And then it limits your range of motion a couple degrees everywhere. And they have an artificial disc that they can put in, which is a different type of surgery where you don't get the H bracket. But if I went that route, which has long-term prognosis is better because the adjacent discs don't get messed up and stuff from when you put that H bracket on there, it causes wear and tear on the bottom of the disc. They're like, you could do the artificial disc, and I'm that actually sounds pretty cool. It's just this little device thing. But you can never train jiu-jitsu. Really? Because there's nothing to prevent it from, if I got caught in like a bad guillotine or something, from it being dislodged, and it would just cut through my spinal cord.
Ooh.
Will it go down there forever?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a no.
Yeah.
And then I thought about the spinal fusion with the bone graft and stuff.
Yeah.
Just go to get some stem cell these days.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is we just need to.
I gotta start taking stem cell baths.
Yeah.
Just
Baths.
My whole body.
I know, seriously, man.
It's
Johnny Weber, where you at with those stem cells,
Right.
man?
I'm gonna hit the hook up.
All right.
Take an IV and a bunch of stem cells. I wonder if the price is coming down on those.
I mean,
I've heard quite a few stories
no
of
clue.
pretty miraculous benefits from them.
it's gotta over time start going down, right? But the thing with here, it's regulation and stuff too. You know what I mean? That's why you got to go to where like Panama, or not Panama, but
Somewhere, South America.
Yeah, so somewhere in South America.
You could probably get in Panama. Everything's legal in Panama.
Yeah, right.
I think Panama is where Mel Gibson's dad was.
Is that where he took? Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was the right
he was
country or
getting
not.
intravenous, so he was getting them like through his whole body.
Wow.
And he was getting the golden stem cells.
What's all? I don't know this backstory. What happened? Like what happened? Did it help? What?
It helped tremendously.
Yeah.
From the way that they tell the story. I don't know for me.
Oh, so I can't remember exactly what it was with Mel Gibson's dad, but he was old, in his 90s, and was having really bad problems, and they got him down there, and he got the stem cells, and now he's like, he can walk again, He's
oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and like I was saying with the golden stem cells, they take like these stem cells from like babies, basically. You know what I mean? The younger, the better on the stem cells. And then they inject you with that, and the golden stem cells are the best. It does the best regeneration. It rejuvenates. You know what I mean?
There you go. At 55.
It brings your body back. Yeah, right.
55.
Shelf life's getting a little rough.
Yeah.
Stem cells.
Exactly. Right. Right. You take that money and invest in stem cells.
Yeah. All the investment talk that we were talking about earlier.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Seriously, make enough so that you have enough to invest in stem cells.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we just need. We just need like Boa Island, but it's got to be close enough to South America that it's just a quick flight plan over. It's like hour and a half, 2 hours. Every few months we go. We just get our stem cells.
That's a good point, though. Like as you're older, there's less risk to things like that.
Yeah.
Like
benefit,
the risk profile shifts. It's not that I don't know. In my
no, yeah.
The risk doesn't change. Your perception and willingness to carry forward the risk.
Changes.
But
Exactly.
It's that what have I got to lose factor, right?
Yeah. What do you have to lose?
And they're telling me I'm gonna feel like I'm 30 again.
Right.
But it might shave 10 years off my life.
You won't be strong like bull.
I don't know if I'm gonna have 10 years. Yeah.
Another 5, but I feel 30. Then
that's what I'm banking on, man. I'm gonna bank on medical advancement, and technology is going to increase to extend my shelf life to 80.
Well, what are the chances, like within the next 15 to 20 years, you guys think that we're able to get those implants and stuff and start going like cyborg style?
That's happening.
I mean, and then
it's happening.
At that point, age really becomes just a number in a sense, right? Because then you can start doing those advancements, those little enhancements along the way, and then with stuff like stem cells or CRISPR or all these other things, you know what I mean? There's ways that you can really alter and genetically modify human beings on top of if you add something with like the mechanicals, and go with implants.
Hey, I'll take a cyborg arm.
Dude, I mean, yeah.
Or a neck where they're like, we can just put this thing in there, nanotechnology.
Yeah.
We'll go repair that and do this and like.
I mean, who wouldn't really? I mean, I think majority of people would, right? Like,
imagine.
I mean, as you get old, it's easy to say when you're young, like, oh yeah, I would never do anything. Like, we don't actually have any concept of what you're talking about in that moment.
Right.
But I think for me, like right now, it's like I'm getting older. I'm now starting to understand what the older people are telling me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? When my great aunt told me, Andre, getting old ain't for pussies. Like,
well said.
It's like at the moment I laughed because it was funny.
Yeah.
But like
So
now I'm understand. Like she just had a hip replacement. And I can't imagine being 90 plus years old. Wow. Maybe she's high 80s. Sorry. High 80s.
Still, that's
getting a hip replacement.
They won't do it when they're
Yeah. But
all good.
Damn.
yeah, no, she's all good. Yeah, all better.
Real talk.
But my point is like that's the future, like of course, yeah, I'll partake in anything that will help me feel younger, like that when one of the things I see quite often is people at the end of their life, and it's a lot of times I'll see the realness of like, yeah, my quality isn't good and I'm ready, like
it becomes that age-old question, right? Quality versus quantity.
Yeah.
And I've always been a quality person, but at the same time, it's just like you were speaking to.
That's because you were young.
When you're 25.
Yeah.
Well, and
And then
think
it changes a little bit when you're older.
right.
Yeah. But if you can get both, right? Like if it's
A balance.
or like, I mean, if there's the risk profile, like the shift is like the risk doesn't change, but I only have 10 years realistically. So let's make this 10 years count.
Yeah. Or what makes you happy, right? I mean, not training jiu-jitsu sounds absolutely horrible to me, but that's me.
I mean,
I appreciate that's not the same for everyone.
my plan B is golf.
For real.
For real.
Like you want to join
I've tried golf a few times in my life, and it has that thing that wants to draw me in.
Really?
Oh, golf.
But I've always done
golf is
something.
fun.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I've always done.
Oh, golf is so much fun.
I've
man.
always done something different at the moment. So like, I wasn't going to play golf while I was playing basketball. You know, I wasn't going to play golf while I was getting my education.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I didn't have time for it.
I hated
I'm
it
not
when I
going
was
to.
younger.
The last time, though, it was when I first started jiu-jitsu and I went to the driving range. And, well, I couldn't understand, and it probably will make sense later, but my buddy who took me, he's like, man, you're phenomenal for your first time. And I was like, couldn't feel good, not even in the slightest. I was looking at this row of retiree ladies, just cracking them out there.
Yeah. 800 yards.
Yeah.
As an arrow.
But I literally had the thought, like, if I'm phenomenal for my first time, I know how many aspects there are to this game. There's no way that I'm going to, with the way I'm feeling about playing this, going to start this journey.
There's levels of that shit.
Yeah. But anyway, my point, that's plan B. Plan B is like, I can't do jujitsu, so keep moving. Golf.
Actually, golf is probably one of those things where you can do while you're still training.
Oh, really? No,
Yeah,
but I don't have time
it's
for that.
one of the ones.
I don't have time for
but
that. I mean,
when it comes
Physically,
to, like,
you could.
no, physically you could. Yeah, but
and
no,
when it comes
time,
to like
no.
multi-sports, if you want to like include jiu-jitsu and multi-sports as far as doing more than one, golf probably fits in really well with that because it's not as physically demanding as a basketball or football or baseball or anything else. You don't have to worry so much about tearing your ACL. You're not running around. You know what I mean? You're just swinging clubs.
I got a bunch of buddies that carried their love for baseball into softball in their 30s and tore their ACL, their PCL, just blew out their knee doing something, just playing softball.
Yeah.
And it was like a fun thing where it was like a bunch of middle-aged guys drinking beer and running around on the field, and 2 or 3 of them had knee tears that were pretty serious.
Yeah, I have 2 follow-ons to that. I remember one day I should probably write a script about it, but a bunch of friends, we were sitting around and we're like, we should join a softball league, right? And you know how we were in early 30s at that time. But you know how men are, right? You remember back to what you could do and just assume you could do it today. But anyway, what we did...
Easier now, right?
What we did...
Easier now.
Yeah, right? But what we did was put together that softball team, and I will never forget, I was like, dude, I am the fastest center fielder you will ever see. I'm playing center field. I'll catch everything, right?
I got it all covered.
First ball that comes out. Very first one. No, not yet. Not yet. First one that comes out,
that means it's
I
coming.
start running for it, and it drops in front of me, right? And I'm like, that's not happening again. Right? So I get it, throw it in. It's not happening again.
You die next time, right?
Next one that gets hit out to me, no way this is dropping. I am not kidding you. The moment I had the thought of, let's go, rip the entire hamstring. I'm being dead serious. And fell straight to the grass and was rolling around in pain. I like to think of myself as a semi-tough guy. Definitely was my most bitch-made moment ever. Wow. And I coached the rest of the league.
Did they score that as an error or as a base hit?
Did it get logged as an error? That's the important part.
Because you want to protect your pitcher at that point. You don't want to give up those extra earned runs. So, I hope they scored it as an error.
I don't quite remember. Yeah.
Definitely not the pitcher's fault.
The second,
like, what the hell, man? Why? Dre's out there.
I know this guy said the whole time. I guarantee you, this guy lasted 2 plays of a softball league. 2
And
plays.
that was your softball career, huh?
That was it.
Not even an at bat.
Now going back to playing basketball again, I don't want that experience. I don't want that as a memory at all. Like baseball, fine. That's fine.
Shocked when we played basketball that one night out at Leslie and Drew's community center area. My God. Like, I thought I still had a really good jump shot, and my reverse layup was the cleanest people had seen. Even pictures, like some people took the pictures, I'm like, what the hell? I'm 58 years old.
The only person,
Sloppy and rigging.
the only person that night that could hold his head high is Jerry.
Jerry was on.
I was like, yeah, Jerry
I was shocked at how good his jump shot was.
Man,
Jerry's
he
a
was
baller,
good.
huh?
Jerry
Jerry's
is
a
a baller.
Really?
I would match him up. Like, he can play anywhere he wants to play.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I said. I'm like, what is this craziness?
Yeah. And then I had made the choice, like, you know.
You would never think, like, looking at him, no way, you know.
Yeah. I was like, I made the choice too. I'm going to lock this dude up now. I'm going to lock him up. Anyway, it didn't go quite.
Fucking in your eye every time.
In your face.
But it's like the typical Jerry, the
Shoot the
typical
J.
Jerry that
Shoot
we're
it.
used to, like where it's like the Terminator look, like no emotion, just nothing.
Swish and then just looks at you.
Game on, bitches.
He just went straight.
But everybody
Prince on
else,
you.
like, it was funny because we were all playing, right? And everybody started trickling off, like, trickled off.
The more shots he made, the fewer people were on the court.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't need those memories.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
I could never find a liking for golf. I tried for quite a while.
Really?
Oh man.
Man, I was hooked from the first
hate
swing.
Top golf, I enjoy.
Oh,
The driving range, I used to hit a basket of balls at it's Nevada Bob's or something. It was on Indian School in like
No idea.
Dysart or El Mirage.
No say,
oh
sir.
yeah.
Big driving range.
Yeah.
I'd go out there and when I was trying to learn and hit a bunch of balls, and that was okay. It was kind of like stress relief, and I was decent, I think, at driving, but actually playing a full round of golf.
Was it just the frustration?
I'm happy. I'm trying to break the club
Yeah.
on and throw it in the woods.
Well, and that's what I was picturing too.
Go to your home.
I mean, it's true. Like, that's exactly what I was picturing with that game. Like, I would like to get better at this. There's ways to get better at this. But the level of frustration and the energy I would put into it, yeah, I couldn't. Not now, I can't do it. But I could see retiring and being like, let's buy a house on a golf course and drink all day and drive around in our cart and hit some balls.
Just get a car, whack.
That's what it boils down to. More drinking, less holes. All of a sudden, you're doing half. You're doing
I mean,
8 holes and been drinking for 4 hours.
I hated golf when I was younger, and then when I finally started doing it, I didn't like golf until I started living out here.
Really?
And then I like actually went and started playing because I always played other sports.
Yeah.
And so to me, golf was so boring, so slow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once I was out here, I picked it up. I started playing it. I enjoyed it. Baseball helped me with my swing.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it started becoming more mental. And that's where it ties in like with almost like jiu-jitsu. There's so much mental.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking about it.
There's a lot of you versus yourself in golf. And same with jiu-jitsu.
I didn't get that far. I never got that far.
It's crazy though, because you will, it does, if you apply kind of the same mentality.
I've heard that a lot, that it's a mental game.
It is.
Yeah.
It's more of a mental game.
But with that being said, also to kind of like your point to your point, I always thought if you go play golf, it's a party. You know what I mean? I didn't really like.
Is that too?
Yeah, it's both,
Yeah,
right?
it
You get the
depends.
best of both worlds. If you want to go out there, dude, I played one time a friend of mine and I went out and it was just the two of us and they ended up pairing us up with 2 other guys. It was 2 dudes that played for the Arizona Rattlers.
Really?
Dude, they were like shorter than me. Both of them just fucking, I mean, you could tell they played football, right?
Yeah.
One of them was like, oh yeah, I just started playing, like I haven't played that long. These guys are hitting it like 350 straight down the fairway. Just whoosh, and they just like,
got that sound.
we're just like, huh? You know what I mean?
Oh shit!
And I get up there and I'm like, yeah, okay.
After the hops and 80 yards.
Wah, wah, wah. You know what I mean?
That's That's the exact story I was telling with the retiree old ladies.
I mean, yeah.
That's what it looked like to me.
I really have to give some serious thought to what I'm going to do after.
You know,
I've never allowed myself to really think about that.
We should go hit up a golf course.
Yeah, we need to go play some golf.
Not doing that. Let's be clear about this, fellas. Like when all of my physical attributes are stripped of me, that's when we can play golf.
Right.
Well, we got no other options, right?
If somehow I get hurt and I can't do jiu-jitsu anymore, but I could play basketball, then I'm playing basketball.
So when you retire, you're gonna go get that basketball money, then, right?
Get that basketball.
Yeah. No. What could? Nothing's captured my attention, and I haven't had a passion for anything like that.
You got to keep moving, though, right? I think that's the key. Like, you got to keep moving. I used to think it was like exercise, like good exercise and being in great shape. Well, I remember one time one of the guys I worked with, he was like, because I was worked out and stuff like that. He said, Andre, he always plays with his Rubik's Cube. They've done studies, and it turns out that when you work out every day, you don't actually live longer. And I was like,
oh, fuck that.
And I was like, what? And I started to argue it for a little bit. And he's like, well, that could be fixed with a good diet. That could be fixed with walking every day. And it was like, it made sense to me. Like, in fact, you can strain your body and you can have these detrimental effects. And it was like very matter of fact, but it was like, I always remembered it because I was like, that is a really nice, useful piece of information as you get older, right? Because it's almost like we think if I'm in the best shape, then I'm in the best shape and I'm going to live longer. And it doesn't equate to that. Like you look at all these professional athletes, and a lot of them just have the normal life trajectory of any, like you don't see a huge distinction. And a lot of times you'll see
it's actually
downward, right? Because you're stressing your body. So I've kind of determined like whatever it is I'm going to be doing, it's just, I got to keep moving for whatever it is that I'm capable of doing, and then I've heard another person say stretching too.
Yoga. I think I need to get yoga in my life. I think
Yeah.
I need some of that restorative yoga that helps, keep the joints.
The times I've done it, I've noticed a huge difference in terms of like mental clarity and feeling better, and also just, your body feels younger, right? What I can't figure out is, I feel like I'm a pretty disciplined person, the things I want, but what I can't figure out completely is why everything that I know is good for me do I not do? Like I've had the experience of having like wake up, and I might be getting it slightly out of order, but I would go to the gym, work out good workouts that aren't like destroying your body. I'd meditate for 30 minutes, journal for a little bit, and then periodically throughout the day, like I'm only going to 5 minutes of meditation. Before I went to sleep, journal, meditate. Man, I felt great, right? I'm like, what is it about the human character that doesn't allow us to do the things that feel great, but it's so easy to do the things that don't? Like, I'll be quick to jump on some pizza, right? Or I love gummy bears, man. I'll eat the shit out of some gummy bears, right? But I feel like crap after I eat gummy bears, literally. But it's like, I'm kind of jumping ship all over the place, but like I've been really like doing mental gymnastics over this. Like, why can't I do the things I know that will make me feel better? Like yoga is a perfect example. I know that will help everything. I know it will help jiu-jitsu. I know it will help. It's sort of like meditating in and of itself. Why are a bunch of us getting together and doing that? Or just, you can pull up a YouTube real quick and do it.
I mean, that expands out though to everything though, right?
It does.
I mean, to every. And you know what's something actually though, jiu-jitsu for me was one of those things where it forces you into the fire. You know what I mean? You got to train, you got to keep doing it. But that's also one of those things that got me out of that cycle of where I was doing nothing. Once I started training, then it started getting me used to that kind of mindset again. And then it was easier for me to do other things, at least start thinking of tackle it a different way in your mind, right? So even for like getting my home inspector's license, like after training jiu-jitsu, it's things like that. It's an obstacle, but I also think like I can get over that obstacle, like passing the test to get my license, I can get over that obstacle. It's easier to do. But it's a mentality shift, you know what I mean? And it takes that mentality shift. And then even like you're saying to go nowadays, it's just a normal routine even, right? Like to get yourself to get up and do that extra thing you got to do to make sure we get to training, you know, which a lot of people over time, that's where people taper off, is just not showing up. You know, it's making that excuse for a reason. It's easier to sit around. It's easier to eat the gummy bears. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always easier to eat the gummy bears, but mentally, you've got to make sure you're keeping yourself accountable or keeping yourself in check, which is the hardest. And even for me, I always think like it's easier if, and that's one reason, like with our group now that we've got in the mornings, especially, like it's easier for me to hold myself accountable when I know, like all four of us sitting right here, the other three of you guys are going to hold me accountable as well in some sense, right?
Yeah.
So that means that keeps me on that edge. That keeps me, I have that little bit of something urging me to keep doing it a little easier, because I've got to show the responsibility. I've got to show the respect to everybody else. Plus, that's how you advance yourself, right? I mean, like you said, you got to keep going. If it's one thing, and I've noticed that as I've gotten older, man, like I never thought I'd be living to this age as it is. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, you don't think about that.
You know, I mean, I'm sure we've all said that, we've all thought it, but it is, right? Like as we get older, you have kids, you get different jobs, you learn different things, you start training jiu-jitsu at a later age. These are all forces and processes that we got to go through to force us to do things to advance ourselves, but you're not always going to have that nudge. You've got to use these examples, and those will propel you forward in other aspects that you don't have the help, right? I mean,
yeah, I guess too, it's like I've experienced life where the best way I could describe it is like, man, I don't have the impediments in front of me right now. Like if you're like constantly on like the upkeep of yourself, right? It's like you're just a pure conduit for whatever's inside. You just make the choice to do it on the outside, right? It doesn't have to go through all the wickets and it'll get caught here in this little fear box and then caught here. You know what I mean? Because you're always addressing the stuff and you have it all in the right spot. How do we get there and stay there?
That's the toughest part.
It is.
Your earlier point, right?
mental gymnastics.
You know what you need to do, but
even our morning, like I would like to. For me, it's like, yeah, there are certain times I get out of bed, not because I know this is good for me, which it is, because I'll be letting other people down, right?
And that motivation is different for everyone, right?
Right. So there's different reasons.
That might be the reason for you, or for someone else, they might feel like I have a responsibility to be a leader and lead by example, or there could be 10 different reasons. Whatever the motivation is, as long as you can find it.
As long as you can find it.
Yeah.
But I guess for me, what I've really dialed into is the best motivation is self-motivation, just because it's the best thing. And it frustrates me when I can't stay there. Just stay there. Like I need to do, for me, meditation is an amazing thing to do.
I think we talked about it.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever read or looked into NLP, neuro-linguistic programming? Basically, you guys know who Tony Robbins is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, Tony Robbins took NLP from way back, all of the data and research,
Updated it,
and rebranded and packaged it and updated it. And not to minimize his stuff, because I think a lot of it's really good.
Yeah, I think along those lines. So,
but I think that's one of the areas that you can possibly kind of program yourself. You know how they say if you do something every day for 30 days, it becomes a habit. Then your mind and your body are in sync with, we're going to get up, we're going to do this because we feel good, we're getting endorphins, whatever it is. The neuro-linguistic programming, a big part of that is talking to yourself with like mantras or whatever else. Like if you're on a run and you want to do A, B, and C, you want to make these shifts in your life, you put together a little thing that you say as you go.
Yeah.
And you say that every day, like almost like a little song as you're running or whatever you're doing. And after a month or 2 or 3, you basically told your brain and the software in the
I've done that.
Okay.
I've literally, I literally have done that.
I've done it as well.
Yeah.
It straight works. It's not mystic, crazy stuff.
Well, and that's the part, but that's the key, right? So we're both saying, I have done that. So not only have I done it, someday, some random day when everything was working so well, some random day I said, I'm not going to do that.
This thing I found is amazing. It's been working so well.
What?
I'm gonna stop it.
Right? It's like jujitsu too, right? Like, oh, jujitsu, that's changed my life. I love it. Right? Why is the thing that's getting me up in some of these mornings, shit, they're going to be there. And if I don't show up, I'm letting people down. Right? Like, why can't it just be, that's the best thing for me for this moment in time. And that's why I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Should
I don't understand that as part of the human psyche. I don't understand why we're built that way. Why, if given the choice between broccoli and pizza, we want to choose the pizza, assuming you like it. But whatever, fill in the blank for whatever it is.
I put broccoli on the pizza.
Do you think it doesn't make sense to, like, I'll give you one that I'm in a phase of not drinking water that is ridiculous.
You don't drink any water?
Wait.
No, listen to this. So I go through phases.
Yeah.
I dislike water. I do not like it. Like, sometimes there's certain things you're neutral on.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't like it.
Like, I want to be clear.
Yeah. So like when I do,
hate water.
I know I need it.
Gatorade.
Right.
H2O.
But no, I know I need it to live. So I force myself. So I'll take a bottle of water and I will down it. But I'm in one of those phases where I can't get myself to do that right now.
Wow.
So I try and drink as much as I can, which is not enough, right? Why? Why? Biology should tell. I know, basically. Why? I know.
This is water with a little flavoring, basically. You know what I mean?
But that's my point. Like, biology should be like, I love water. It's the life force of the universe.
But that's kind of what I was tapping into or trying to, right? When I said it's biology, the pizza versus the broccoli, your body's saying, we want those carbs because back in the olden days, the scarcity, if you got something like that, you needed to store fat to survive.
Yeah.
So that's like hard wiring.
But what's with the water then?
The water should definitely be the same, but it's probably the fact that we have access to a lot of really good, clean drinking water.
It's like if you're given something sugary or water, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like I'll just throw a little Crystal Light in here.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's good or not. Or like we're buying some other stuff that like just to get me to drink something.
Have you ever tried those liquid IVs?
The IV?
Yeah. I get one called Drip Drop, I think it's called. On Amazon.
Oh, yeah.
It's a powder packet with electrolytes and flavor.
Wait, I think you've given me one.
Yeah, Amy gave you some, I think, one time.
Yeah, they're still in my pantry because that requires putting it in water.
I hate water so much, I refuse.
It just ain't
No,
sweet enough.
they're sitting in the pantry. I could try it out.
Flavor to it, and it actually gives you replenishes your electrolytes. So when you sweat real hard at training, if you have one of those, it's almost as good as getting an IV.
Yeah.
Do you not like that it lacks flavor or something, or just?
I don't know how else to explain it. Like very few people can understand it because very few people like go through it.
It's just like too clear for you.
It has I don't even know how to say
I just don't like it.
Like, I just don't like it.
Just don't like it.
It's missing the beer.
What's wrong with it?
I know, right?
Look at it.
I know, but if you really think about it, which tastes
Yeah.
worse, water or beer?
Fucking transparent. Ugh.
Depends who you ask, right?
Yeah, it depends who you ask. I don't know, man. It's one of those weird things.
You don't ever kind of break out of that though? Like if you have a really hard training session,
here's what you
where you get really thirsty.
Yeah, like yesterday I took one, it had some flavor in it, but I was like, that was the best thing I ever tasted in my life. I must be dying right now. Right?
You're probably dehydrated.
Yeah, for sure. I know for a fact I'm dehydrated. For a fact. And you would think that would be enough to spawn it, but it's just this weird phase. I will, though. I will eventually roll back. I will roll back. Like, usually what gets me to think about it is like kidney stones. Like, if I can, like, I'll watch a video on kidney stones and like, oh no. But that's not working right now.
His favorites
Yeah,
on his
right.
browser.
It's like he just, that's his motivator when he wakes up every morning to drink water. He just watches kidney stones. Oh, God, give me the water.
Post-it note that says water is your friend.
He's got a little kidney stone dropping into a cup.
I'm regretting bringing this up, but yeah, I don't know. But my point is...
But I don't have the same hatred for water, but I just find myself not drinking enough. And I figured out a couple years ago that I was chronically dehydrated.
Right. I know we've talked about this. Yep.
where I was like passing out. I'd be standing there talking with family in the kitchen and all of a sudden just fall out.
Whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
That's
And
no bueno.
I went through a whole workup for, at first they thought cardiac, right? They think heart.
Yeah.
So I went and did all the stress tests and ran on the treadmill and got the stuff put in my vein. They're like, your heart's super strong. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Everything's good. So then they sent me to a neurologist. And they thought it was a head. Yeah, there's probably a pretty good chance.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
I've taken
Some
hard
lumps.
hits over the years. And that came back all clear. They're like, no, we're not quite sure. And then I think I figured it out just before, it was probably about 2-3 years ago. And somebody's like, yeah, you're probably chronically dehydrated. And I'm like, and we sweat a lot.
Yeah.
And if you sweat out almost a gallon of water in the summertime, right, I'll lose 7 pounds
Right.
of sweat. And then I go home and I drink 2 big cups of water, and that's it. And then I go to training the next day and sweat out another 7 pounds. You just can't catch up to that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I did the liquid IVs is what I started with way back before Amy did any of the mobile IV stuff. Even that, I never had any more pass out episodes or weird stuff. And ever since the actual IVs, feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those random things. But yeah, I trying to find that place to just get back to that discipline of like, do it because it's the best thing for you. Right? I mean, it's that simple, right? The simple things are the hardest things to do. You know? But like,
I think
like
the best
drink
thing
water.
for you shifts and changes all the time.
all the time, yeah. Yeah, all the time. And I think in fairness, probably it wasn't some random day where like, oh, I feel great. It probably was one off day that stopped you from doing that thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, this one wasn't so bad. I'm stressed today too. And that will add 2 hours a day, 2 hours back into this day. So I'll, and you kind of slowly drift off.
Did you guys ever have that before jiu-jitsu where like, at least for me, I was an LA Fitness guy where I would go and lift weights all the time and like work out at the gym?
I worked out, yeah.
How many times did you have where like a speed bump hit, something happened that made you not go work out, and you're like, that one day turned into a month of being out of the gym to where you're like, well, I paid for it. Should I cancel my membership?
Yeah.
It's like, no, I got to get back in there. It doesn't take much. It's a path of
it doesn't.
distance.
Yeah, it doesn't. Exactly. But to your point of the rewiring, I used to wait for those days. So I rewired my brain to be like, those are the best workouts because those are the ones I wouldn't have got. You know, but it's kind of to your point. It's like, I'm just trying to find a way. How can I rewire my brain that actually works? I've done it a lot of times in different areas in life. But I don't know. I guess it's age that's starting to have me thinking about it too. You know, like it's not like this. When we're younger, we think like we just don't think about dying, or we think we're going to die early and we're not going to. We just don't think about it, right? We're not thinking about it. But when you get to an age that you never envisioned yourself being and start feeling that age and looking at other people, it makes it more real. You know, and I'm kind of thinking like kind of the whole water thing, for instance. Like there's times where I'll feel my heart not feel right. And I'm like, I know that's water. I know, yeah, little palpitations and things like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I can't, what am I, like, that's what I'm, this misfire. It's like, what am I doing right now? I just went and trained with savages and sweated out all this. And I have not drank, have I drank? I don't think I drank water today.
Yeah,
and now I'm sitting here drinking a beer.
Yeah, so you're dehydrating yourself further. And then when you wake up in the morning, you're going to feel pretty tired because you're dehydrated.
You're
going to drink coffee.
And I'm going to drink coffee. But that's what I'm saying. So you're looking at like...
To your point, this is like 90% water, you know?
Dude, in my book, coffee is water.
Piss water?
Yeah, I mean, basically, right? It just runs off the mountain. They just collect it in a jar.
Anyway.
I don't remember that. I don't know. It's probably like 20 years.
Coors Light.
I don't want to belabor the point, but some of the stuff you got to figure out earlier, you know, I feel like that is a very unhealthy thing. There's a lot of things that are very unhealthy, though. I'm using one from my life, but there's lots of them.
Like,
you know
what's really not
stress.
healthy is not drinking water. That is really not.
Down, right?
So
the lowest level.
I will tell you,
Right? Hey, I just
know,
want
right?
to address this situation.
Let's
but
just
I
start
don't
at
think-
step one. But no, it's like we need water every 3 days. I guarantee you I'm drinking all my water on the third day.
We're gonna have like
I'm
that.
still here.
We gotta have like a water intervention. We're gonna have to sit around and be like, Andre, really, you need to drink more water.
I mean, that's what Amanda does all day.
Really? Try those drip drops.
Yeah,
It might have
I've
enough
got
flavor
to.
and
Yeah.
You might actually feel the benefits and be like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I throw one in my water almost every day, usually every other day at least.
Yeah.
And I also get IVs now every week. I get once a week.
Yeah, which I probably should do.
What are those waters that Bert Kreischer's been drinking?
Who is it? What?
Bert Kreischer, this comedian.
I'll be right back.
It's like death water, or it's water in a can.
He never drinks
like-
water, but it comes in a tall boy.
Yeah, it comes in like a
So
tall
it feels
boy
like
can.
he's drinking beer.
It looks like those. What are the Rockstar? Not the Rockstar, but it was like the white can monsters or something like that. It looks like that, but it's like death water or like heavy metal water. It's some weird
And
shit.
he doesn't sip it. He'll slam it every
Liquid
time.
death.
Yeah,
That's what it's
liquid.
called, like liquid
And what's it do?
It's just water.
It's water,
It's
but
water in a can.
they formulate it so it's easier to drink somehow. And he
for
slams
him-
it. Like
What's
he,
it
for
called?
him-
Death
yeah,
water,
there's the
I
answer.
think.
Death water.
Liquid death or something
Liquid
like that.
death.
But for him,
I'll report back next time.
he talks about because he likes to drink so much, and he's drank so much, like the fact that it's in a can.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh yeah, it's so easy to
fits.
drink. You know what I mean?
I
And
heard
it's
The
like,
Rock was putting out an energy drink, but like a natural energy drink, not with all the chemicals and different stuff. Like,
oh, good. At least it won't be called Rock Bottom then.
Isn't that the name of a restaurant?
Oh
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah, it
It was
was.
also the name of his finishing move.
That's
So,
poor marketing.
you know, I've had a few nights in the Rock Bottom, like at the restaurant. Some good times.
So what do we think? Who's going to buy AMC stock on Monday?
Man, I can't. If you're only going to buy 10, hook me up with the other 10. I'll give you the 10. That's come on, man. I will give you the 10. I'm good for it.
I think I can put 10 on it. So we'll see. We'll see on Monday. If it jumps crazy from like 18 to 200 in day one, then I'm not going to try to.
Why?
That's too
I'm not
late.
going to go in at 200.
Too late to jump
No.
in.
Late.
You don't want to do
I
that.
did that with the altcoins back in 2017.
I didn't. I got
I
in.
was too late.
I got in early and then held too long.
No. Because it's
Well,
still
that's
there.
what I
It's
did.
still there.
Oh, I only invested. I didn't invest a ton.
No, but
I invested 5. I think it was up to, I want to say 37, which wasn't bad.
not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
You didn't
bad.
cash out any at all?
No, it's still sitting there.
Wait, it's in Binance?
Yeah, it's still there.
In your
I know.
Binance halted U.S. activity and created Binance USA. I just found this
So
out.
can you not get it out?
I tried to get my money. I transferred my Binance account over to my Binance USA account,
Oh,
and it just kind of disappeared.
Everything disappeared?
No,
Oh.
just what I had left in there. So like a month ago, Chris and I had he had
That
talked.
was like
Yeah,
3 months ago.
Was it 3 months ago?
It's been a while now. Yeah.
Chris had talked me into moving my money into another coin, or suggested that I move my money into another
hey,
coin.
Hey, your money
Yeah,
ain't
they-
good here. No.
So I took the bulk of it, but for whatever reason, like there was still leftover. It was like $500 or something left over. And then last night, I wanted to put money on Doge, and Binance wouldn't let me. Said I'm violating some policy. So I looked into it online, and they said that they halted all U.S. activity. There's too much regulation in the U.S., so they created Binance US. And so I was like, cool, I'll just ship the money over, and then I'll buy Doge when it gets over there. And now it's kind of in limbo.
But it said it's
Already gone up.
No,
well, Doge went up and crashed again.
Yeah, I
So
heard it was.
but it's always doing that though.
it was over on Robinhood app. It was over 7 cents a fucking coin, which is insane.
Yeah.
Insane. I mean, that is insane.
Even my Tron and ADA and all that are still fractions of a.
And actually, ADA's in a good spot. They're supposed to be releasing
You know
and
what happened? It
updating
was
some
weird.
stuff right now.
hey, what time is it?
10, oh my
10:35?
10:35.
Shit, I'm out.
What time? What time?
I gotta go.
Outta here?
Yeah,
You
man.
want to cut it? We're like an hour and 20 in.
I gotta roll.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was a lot of jiu-jitsu talk.
Yeah, we didn't get into the fact that I wanted to say,
It always ends that way.
yeah, right.
That's cool. We can call it here.
Yeah, let's call it.
Yeah.
Get on the mic really fast and we'll say our byes. Well, shit, that was fun, guys.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That went by super fast.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah.
did.
We got to do this again.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
yeah, hey,
Getting a
thanks.
Call from Joe Rogan. This is like my second favorite.
I mean,
I've been a fan from the beginning.
right?
We
Yeah.
didn't introduce Big Will correctly.
Yeah, exactly. Before you get out of here, for sure.
Why
This
don't we
is
share our best Big Will story? How about
Oh,
that?
no.
Say who he is and our best one.
Now it's a setup.
starting at the end. Starting at the end.
Idea.
So, yeah, this is Coach Will. We call him Coach Will because he's the one that was our kind of the face of instruction that we got. No disrespect to our professor who was obviously there and obviously instructing as well. But Coach Will did like the fundamentals. So like 6 years ago, I think it's been 6, like that was where we learned our jiu-jitsu. And we've just grown to be friends, training partners. We've mentioned like our games have gotten better. His has definitely gotten a lot better too. But yeah, just, part of the journey. So my best story is jiu-jitsu changed my life, and you'll forever be, there's 3 faces there, and yours is one of those faces that changed my life.
For sure.
Thank you.
For sure. My story, when I first started, it was maybe about a month or 2 in. And I had heard you talking with somebody. I think it was Brandon, or it could have been Kelly. I don't remember. But you were being matter of fact. It wasn't like you weren't trying to be snide or anything. But the message is it's too hard to learn all white belts' names because there's so much turnover. Like they're in and out. You never know. Like you could, if you become friends with them, they might be gone next month, and then
Yeah.
So the highlight of my white belt career was when you called me by name for the first time.
Oh, that was good. And that was a carryover. It never really was a problem or like a thing at Deboa, right? We
Right.
didn't have the same attrition, but in my previous part of my journey before Deboa, it was you learn somebody's name and then they'd be gone the next week.
Mm-hmm.
I quit.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
What you got, bro?
so for me, again, yeah, right.
We're rolling.
Right. So Coach Will, man, I mean, from the very, very beginning, right? When we all started training, like you were saying, he's one of the Mount Rushmore faces that I have as far as the beat downs and just learning overall for me. I know the biggest thing for me was like at the beginning of jiu-jitsu, just trying to kind of figure out my way, trying to figure out stuff. And every day, like there were some times where I was like convincing myself to go back in just because I knew we were getting beat down, which I love now, looking back, you relish. But I remember just, you were one of the first other guys at the gym that I could really start talking to and asking questions to, and you would break stuff down. And the thing that I still think about today a lot is your idealism and your thought processing about chaining things together. That to me was something that, especially early on, you know what I mean? Going from like open guard or closed guard to open guard even in itself is like mind blowing. You don't want to let go of closed guard because it's like they're not going anywhere until they choke you out. And then you're like, what the hell did I do wrong? But it's like, that's just the most basic. But going through it, it's like as I progress and as we all progress, that theory of start looking to chain things together, looking at more than, it's not a one-step process. There's A, B, and C. There's multiple avenues to go, no matter the position, no matter the timing or the situation you're in. And that's something that stuck with me from the beginning is just that. I mean, that's actually one of the big things that helped my game too, was starting to realize and think about things, and even like we talk about with training, right? We go like a lot of times it's step 1, step 2, step 3, but it's putting those together into a fluid motion, and then putting that fluid motion in chain with the other fluid motion to go from one option to 2 options, or setting up a trap, whatever it might be. But getting into that point is further down the road. But that stuck with me. And then when we did that the anniversary dinner, and we had that fun, and then we went to the bar, and your wife and my wife were out there dancing for hours.
Yeah.
And
what was that? That was our 10-year wedding.
yeah, the 10-year, right? The 10-year, crazy. But I remember like you and me are standing there with drinks, and I mean, we trained together for a while, but it got to that point where we're both like, we gotta fucking go. You know? The girls are just
still
like
dancing. Yeah, they were going at it. Man.
And I was like,
that was a good night.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I would say. Those 2 things, especially the jiu-jitsu side, is big time. You know what I mean? And then obviously getting smashed from the beginning. You know that's always there.
To be a small part of your guys' journey.
Well, no,
big part.
Jiu-jitsu, and we've
huge part. Yeah, huge part for all of us. In good ways. So, also before we get out of here, you want to say like you have Walsh Consulting Group, right? Or Walsh Consulting? Yeah. You want to give a little shout out? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so consultative services for healthcare, which is basically Amy doing mobile IVs, and then I do IT consulting, which I've done in the past primarily for like small doctors' offices, plastic surgeons, and small doctors' offices in the West Valley. So something kind of new. But
awesome.
It's going pretty good.
Wait, so we each took turns saying something good about you. Do you want to say something?
My turn. My turn.
I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth.
Yeah, we did that. We did that already.
Good.
Right, look at this.
The best thing about you 3 is
Now give us compliments.
part of your
Yeah,
journey.
right.
Train more. Keep
Yeah.
the compliments coming.
I remember the first time I smashed you.
I thought Dre was going to say his first day at Debo.
That's actually where
that
I was.
sticks out in my mind.
It's actually, I'm going to say it now. It was in my mind because it was the best piece of advice I'd ever received, and really a summary of the jiu-jitsu journey, really.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, think about it. When I say it in a minute, it's a summary of the jiu-jitsu journey. When you're starting out, that's how you keep going. But, unless you're talking about something different.
Let's hear it.
Yeah. But
See when we get there, right? Yeah.
So we're rolling. It's like my first day, and I'm like, this motherfucker's trying to kill me right now. So I am literally fighting for my life, like fighting. And finally, like, Will slows down a little bit. He's like, look, let me give you a little bit of advice. This is kind of going to end the same way each time we do it.
He was, and from my perspective, he was coming.
I was
80%.
I was the epitome.
Explosive, athletic, just like.
I was the epitome. When I say I was fighting for my life,
Fool was.
and when I say I thought he was trying to kill me, that's what it looked like in my world. So that's what was happening. He's like, and it's really up to you how you want to experience it. If you go 100%, I've got to go 100%. Mm-hmm. If you go 50%, I'll go 50%. May not have been exact word for word, but it sort of clicked in my head in that moment. Like, it made sense to me because I had been going 100% and with devastating results each time. Ineffectual. But one of the things I was struggling with, that may have been like the second day.
Yeah.
It may have been the second day.
We talked much on the first day.
No.
It was just a lot of.
Second, third. It was somewhere in the very beginning. Yeah. But I was already struggling with the fact, like, I don't think anybody here likes me because I was that spazzy white belt going 100% and everybody was fucking me up at every turn. And I think Will was the first one, now that I'm looking back and understand more about jiu-jitsu, was the first one to be like, dude, this guy doesn't get it. I'm going to tell him in words. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But to me I
caught myself that first day because I was getting ready to say, hey, slow down. And then I was like, some things shouldn't be conveyed with words.
It was. I was
there needs to be a
Let it
message. And it
feel
wasn't
it,
like I was
right?
trying
Yeah.
to hurt you or
No.
beat you up or anything else. It was just like, you give me that much energy, that's how much I give back. But
Yeah.
you have,
It was an awesome piece of advice too. And what the biggest part of it is like somebody else could hear the message, maybe even the way I'm conveying it right now and be like, wait, what? You know, but really where it was a genuine place. Like it was like a matter of fact, like I really understood the message. It wasn't like, oh, I'm this big badass. It was, I'm going to give you what you're giving me. Right. And it really just made sense. And it came from a good place. You meant it from a good place.
For sure, absolutely.
It was one of the things too to let me know like, oh, okay, this is a good place. Like he's looking out for me. I can trust. Yeah. I can trust. Yeah. Like exactly. Like he's not telling me to slow down so he can take advantage because he can get there either way. Right.
That's a way of looking at it too that I hadn't thought about. Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, to me, like that's the story. When I say it's kind of like for me, the shortcut to jiu-jitsu, it's like we had a 2 days ago, or maybe it was last, I don't remember what day it was, but you came in and wrecked my world. Like wrecked my world. Was it
every day? Every day?
No, yeah.
He's like, as a matter of fact.
No, but for me, it was like kind of full circle where it's like, I don't know if you knew you were doing it. I don't know if you had any thought to it or whatnot, but it made me rethink about like, hey, how am I rolling right now? You know, like how am I rolling that was his version of the roll with me? That's a reflection of what I've been putting out there. Maybe I'm thinking too far into it.
Yeah, no.
Or maybe not.
But that principle and lesson from back then is still...
And it plays out in all of my roles, really. Like, okay, what am I doing here, right? Like, if... no...
I just started visualizing in my own head, like, man, your roles with Will are a lot different because my mind, it's me running straight forward to a brick wall and going over and over.
But we have two different.
Or like I get a hold and he's just like, bing.
But you and I have two different. We have
I know
very much two different styles. Like my style, it can be rough.
Yeah.
Like anybody here, right? Anybody will say that, or it could be
and
like
you're more of a top
I'm a top player.
He's a power top for sure.
Yeah.
I almost messed up and said that.
I was waiting for that's the next soundbite, right? You're definitely a power top,
but
Rich.
to the point, I've been playing guard with you guys since pretty much the beginning of the smaller group.
Yeah.
So with him being more of a guard player, that's a little bit different too. Whereas I play guard, and sometimes you get right past that guard and cutter choke me.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about
Speaking of
earlier today. Like when you're in top position, you don't always know the kind of what the person on the bottom is feeling. Yeah. Right? Like you showed me that you taught it, and I tried to just happen to be in the position to input it into my game, completely oblivious to the discomfort that's happening, right? So anyway, I just thought it was good advice, you know? Like I remembered it coming forward. I remember it when I roll with new people. I try and pay that message forward because for me, that was a clicking point where like, hey, this is a place that's like actually safe, you know?
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that cutter choke. Yeah, I want to tell you, thank you, Dre, because all of a sudden today, guess who's trying to do a cutter choke on me?
Did you get it?
No, he didn't. Nah. But my God, man, I was like, it's funny because I felt you start.
Really trying.
I know. I know.
No, I did go for this.
I felt you start. I felt you as soon as you scooped under the arm. I immediately was like, "Oh shit, here it comes!" And I start just squaring up. I got my hand up. I start pushing away on the other arm. But like and immediately while all this is going on, I wasn't thinking about defending the cutter choke as much as I was thinking about what the fuck, Andre. This motherfucker.
It is spreading. It's spreading.
It's like it's spreading.
Be like Dre.
I'm trying it too, though. I mean, no bullshit. Yeah. Like I'm starting to find myself. Yeah.
Well, I'm still waiting for the day that I get caught in it. Like, let me be very clear. Not that I have not been cut. I know.
Right.
Not that I have never been caught in the cutter choke, because I only learned it one way, right? But it's kind of funny when you're the one who kind of like does more of that thing, and then all of a sudden the tables turn.
It's funny is when we were rolling today, and I like one of the times when I had kind of that top position, I started like thinking about it, and I know you saw like because I was like. I started to move my hand under and you immediately started kind of adjusting, and I was like, damn it, he knows.
Like, this dude is trying to cutter choke me
and I was
right
like,
now.
I'm gonna get him. And he started moving away. I was like, all right.
Yeah, next time we roll, man, you're going to see all the flexibility I have for
right,
days.
Right.
For days. You're going to think your pass foot's going to come out of nowhere and bring you right back.
Where's your fifth foot coming
his
from?
bottom leg and over under pass.
It works every time. I know. None. He will tap on that alone.
You do too, right? The one leg starts to fold in, and you just hear Andre go,
Yep.
and you're like,
That's awesome.
It's
Well,
weird.
shit.
I can still put my heel on my head, but my flexibility this way, like splits,
Gone.
is horrible. It's like, no matter what I do.
Oh, you got the foot planning problem too, right now with that. Shit. And on a sad note, R.I.P. foot.
I know, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, well, anyways, dark arts, guys.
Dark arts.
Dark arts.
Speaking of bad feet and shit, dark arts.
So, how are we going to address the whole Mark situation and his wife and the shirt?
Oh.
I tell you what,
what?
no,
I don't know anything about
I feel
this.
like he has to go home with a black eye to get a message to her.
right, send the
without
message.
really hurting
How much she hates his shirt.
Oh, she hates his shirt.
She hates his
Yeah.
shirt.
Won't let
Yeah.
him wear it, but, like,
Won't let him wear it.
I mean,
I think he was joking.
yeah. But when it comes to the like not liking the shirt exactly, I mean, his wife and my wife would probably become pretty good friends based off of that. When I showed her that design, she was like, "Oh, ew, what is that?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the angel of death, honey." She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "What's the rest of it?" I'm like, "Well, that's iron sharpens iron, and then those are legs because we rip each other's legs off." And she's like,
I can't get any gauge out of my wife after all these years.
Right.
She's like,
Cool.
Good.
Amanda liked it.
yeah.
Good.
I showed
that's
her.
good to hear.
She was like, that shirt's badass. I was like,
Hell
yes,
yeah.
it is.
There we go.
Boom. Boom.
There you go.
Boom,
One on the
bitches,
scoreboard, right?
bitches.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Look forward to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. We got to do this again for
It
sure.
evolved into jiu-jitsu discussion for probably 80 or 90%.
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, I got to say, fuck GameStop. And we're out.
So much for the post
God.
on Reddit, man.
All right, guys. Take it easy. Tomato cans, we out. Peace.
I'm calling birds flying high. Birds flying high.
Yeah, you're supposed to leave like 25 minutes ago.
I know, right? We
I can't believe it's 11 o'clock.
What time is it?
That's
No, it's
11.
not.
Almost
No, it's not.
11. It's 10:53.
Shit. I said, I'll be back. You gotta give me driving time, but I'll be back in an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
See, that's just poor planning.
I
Yeah.
thought I would be back in an hour.
I told Riley 2 hours, and then on the way out, I'm thinking, yeah, probably not. It'll probably be a little longer.
Whatever.
Whenever I say it's tomato cans night, the kids are like, see you tomorrow, Dad.
See you another time, Dad.
See you tomorrow.
That was cool.
That was
Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for making it.
Oh.
Great day.
It's therapy right
Good
there.
as always.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a vortex.
All right, well,
I know, man. It goes by a lot faster than
I can't
you think.
believe that's kind of like a time warp.
It is.
When you
For
get in
sure.
there, like we're just talking, and then all of a sudden that long.